Now we're live.
Shoot. No, are we live? Oh shit, we're live.
Yep. That's okay. I was like, whoa, there he goes.
Okay, let's see here. Let's go. You should be able to see the comments. They'll come up.
Yeah, it says
Let me
messages
double
from
check.
audience
Okay, here we
will
go.
display.
All right, let's see. Boom. All right. Yeah. I'm always fashionably late. What do they say? Fashionably late.
That's okay.
All right.
I was
Let's
kind of
just see
raised in
if.
a family that was late, so I get that. And so now I'm always on time because we were always late. Hello,
Okay,
Maddie.
so oh shoot, it didn't come up the way it's supposed to. I'll be damned. Edit post. God, it didn't work. Boom. I have to, because I didn't have your name on there. So
Oh,
let me
okay.
just, yeah,
Awesome.
it's messed up. Boom. Okay, so this is number 004. And we've got Heather. Let me tag you.
Hello. Hi, Jennifer.
Heather Klaus. For some reason, it's not letting me tag you, but I'll do it after. I'll
Yeah,
correct it
no
after the
problem.
show's over. People are used to it. They're used to that.
That's okay. I just wing
All right.
everything in life, literally. I
Boom.
wing all my lives.
Save.
It's okay.
Oh god, I still didn't do it. How weird. All right, well I'm gonna have to go in there and figure this out at some point, but not right now. Oh yeah, it's on there. I'll just have to go in there and tag it. It's not tagged. Okay, so here we go, and yeah, as usual.
Oh. Oh, now we can't hear you. I think did you mute? I can't hear anything. First, let me see. Oh, what's going on? Okay, it's on your end. I'm like, is it me? Hi, Jennifer. I'm so glad you were able to get on. And Maddie's here. This is exciting. While we're waiting, I know. Can you hear me? You can hear me. Let me see. Default microphone. Is mine muted or no? Hi. I don't know what's going on. Okay. So you can hear me, but you can't hear Todd. If someone could just like let me know. No, yes, no, yes, no.
Here we go.
Oh,
How's
yay!
that?
There we go. The powers
Yeah,
to
how's that?
be.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
now we're good.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, something's
Yeah.
trying to
I don't
keep
know
us
what's
from
happening. All
talking.
right. Okay, so all right, so we just do everything real time, right? I
Yep,
mean,
yep.
that's what this is all about. And what was it? Was it yesterday this all happened? Was it yesterday
Yeah,
when I put that
yep.
post up?
And I just,
Was it?
I
Yeah, I
literally
put.
just started following you and I was like, oh, this is great. I love this. Because I love to talk and I love to just be in the
Uh,
moment.
wait a minute. Okay, they can
Yeah.
hear it now. Yeah. So okay, so I put up like this. As much as I didn't want to, took a picture of myself, and then I put these other pictures up, and I put like this couple of paragraphs
Mhm.
of like I we've talked about, and not that it's not relevant, but we've talked about past lives and future lives, all the stuff that people talked about on Soul Speaks 5D and other platforms, and it was great. I think when Morgan came up with the idea, she said, for originally for Soul Speaks 5D, it was like a place where all these people can come together and share their stories and share their skills and abilities, et cetera, et cetera. And I believe we did that 4,000 shows.
That's awesome.
And now and I took a year off, with everything that happened, and we got reunited, thank God. And 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 we would try to go on. We've been like on an extended honeymoon, so you really haven't. We just checked out, but I think a lot of people did, and we can talk about it. And so what happened was I kept going, God, I can't go do this again. I did 3 shows. I'm like, I'm not going to name it. The name of the show is going to be The Person. Okay.
That's
And they were good shows. They were good shows. They really were. Those 3 shows are really good. But then something happened yesterday. I thought, like a light went off in my head, and I thought, oh my God, this is it. So I put that long post up, and a few people hit it and said, yeah, I would do it. And I thought, this isn't working. So I put up that other little meme post, and like 500 people hit it. And I started getting all these people with all these stories in the comments and in Messenger.
that's really cool.
And so I can't, yeah, so it was all flowing because 2 nights before, Morgan's been really ill, and she's coming around. She's coming around getting better every day. And so we went through this period where it was, it's been like that. And so a couple nights ago, I went and laid out on the balcony, and I just had like this download. And the mother came in, and she's like, it's time to get it on, and I was like, please, help me, help us come into alignment for service, and it was very emotional. It was very powerful. And I realized today that prayer was that prayer, so to speak, was answered. And that's how it always works. And every time the mother comes, I follow her. You know what I mean? And Morgan's doing real well now. Thank you. And she's getting better and better. Let me put it that way, every day. But anyway, so what I was going to say. Oh, and so that day, 2 days ago, once I saw what happened, I was like, oh my God. And I went into message request. I don't know why. And I saw you and this other sister, and the stories were, I could just feel the energy. I'm like, okay, this is it right
Hmm.
here. So, so I want to thank you for answering the
Of
call.
course.
And we've exchanged a few messages. I know you live in an incredible place, and you've got horses, and there's healing involved.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, so thank you for coming into this sacred space with me and sharing space with me and everybody else. And we're anxious to find out, more about you. And yeah, like I was saying, just the real time, what's happening? Have you fallen? Have you risen? Have you healed? Have you reached the mountaintop and then fell again? And I mean, it's like the information that we have real time today is where the code is, and it's coming from the human,
Hmm.
right? So I really picked that up from you with what you had to say in the message. But so yeah, thank you for
Of
coming,
course.
Heather.
Thank you for
And
having me. I truly appreciate it. This is my first ever time being on a podcast. So, um,
well,
yeah.
congratulations. We're honored to have you here.
um,
So I mean, you're and looking at these messages, and I'm getting chills now, so I know we're
I
on the right
sometimes
track.
do.
But
It happens.
yeah. But even today, I'm getting more and more, and I'm sure it's going to go on, and I'm going to do my best to get to everybody, and and that's great that we have so many people that are. But what I'm saying is, I would say there's probably 100 people have said I'll come
Hmm.
on, and I will bet you that 50 to 60 of them have never been on. And some of the stories that I've heard are people saying, I've been awake for a while, and I've always, been watching, you and some other people over the years, and now I want to come out and I want to share. And that's the energy that really got me excited. So, um, yeah, I no, so you live in where do
I
you
live in
live, by the way?
Wisconsin.
Where do you, oh, you're a cheesehead.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in
Yep.
Wisconsin. I spent some time there in Milwaukee, and in I forget the name of the place now, wherever Bill Murray filmed
Groundhog's
Groundhog Day
Day. Yes.
in the Chicago
Yep.
area.
Yep. I'm not far from
Yeah, yeah.
Chicago.
So yeah, Woodstock,
Oh,
Illinois.
okay.
So but so you're living in Wisconsin. You've got horses. It looks like you have
Yes.
land. I don't want to assume anything.
I
Children,
do. I do have two children and I'm
partner.
married. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a
Wow.
son and a
And
daughter.
that always fascinates me. I did it for a little bit in like 20, like
Oh, that's
when
amazing.
Sology started, like 12, 13, 14. I had my two youngest with me. They were young girls going into womanhood at like, 12, 13,
Ugh,
14. So it was kind of interesting
yeah.
going through all that energy at the same time, having that energy in the house. But I always tell Morgan, wow, these ladies, they're like, they're mothers, they're wives, they're doing the whole thing,
Yeah,
but at the same time, they're going through all this stuff. So, what's that like for you? I mean,
go.
I mean, how do you have? Are you getting downloads as you're making dinner
I
and,
you know,
doing the normal things that families do?
yeah, and they come out of nowhere, and it's new for me. So
Mm,
I'm very new to the healing and on this journey. So sometimes I sit there and
mm,
I'm like, did this just happen? Like, did I just hear?
yeah,
And so for me, I kind of take the lighthearted side of it. Like, I'm just a happy-go-lucky person all the time. I try to be, but so doing the mom thing, yeah, it and being married and all of it. It's a lot to be a woman and be a mother and all of it. It puts so much pressure on us as women to be everything, if you get
yeah.
what I'm saying. So it's a lot.
Well, I get what
Yes.
you're saying because I'm married to Morgan, so I get, and I have the, I'm privy to, on the peripheral of the work that she does, like with groups, and I've seen the power of these women. In fact, I was in a group today and one yesterday, and they were amazing. There's so many out there, and I always tell her, they're all out there. There's got to be millions of them. They're like 80% of these communities over the years, and most of them, haven't come out. So, and I'm just amazed by it. But what you mentioned, it hasn't been very long. When did it happen for you?
Well, I mean, like, to waking up to a lot was 2017. Something just flipped
Mm,
in me, and I can't even explain who I was back then. It was just like a switch went off, and I was like, "I don't wanna do this anymore. Like, I want something different," and it was I didn't listen to it. So I shoved it back down and ignored it until last year or December of 2023.
really?
December of 2023, when I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take all of the noise and I wanted to end my life. So I attempted to do
Wow.
that and I'm openly I can share this now. People have judged me for wanting to share my story, but I'm past the judgment now. I know I have a purpose. I know I have a voice for a reason. And so I did try to take my own life. And as I'm laying there in the shower, my husband came in and stopped me and scrubbed my body up because we were getting ready to go to Vegas with some friends. And through that entire thing, a light came. Like, I wasn't there. It was like a light, and it was like, you have a purpose, you need to live. Like, and then both of my children popped up, and I'm like, I don't know what that was, but okay, that's my reason for, and I just got goosebumps. But I mean,
Wow.
and
I mean, that brings tears.
from that day, it took a while. I'm going to tell you, I did the antidepressants, I did the counseling, the therapy, and I did it all.
Now, was this post December 2023, or was this during that
Going
6 year
and
period?
yeah, this was post. So yeah. So I
Okay.
went back. I
Okay.
felt like I just like kind of went back to sleep and just moved on, and then like I said, something flipped in me and I didn't know why I was so depressed and so like angry and all of these emotions. And it turns out that I just had stored trauma in my body that I needed to move. Like, and that for me was
Wow.
just like, like, okay, so now I had to do the hard work. And I started probably, I want to say January, I started in a coaching group and I followed um, a guy named Sean Whalen, Lions Not Sheep, jumped in his lion's den. And the first challenge he gave us was to post a video on social media, one a day. The first video was who I am. The second video was what do I do? And that was a challenge within the coaching group we had to do. So I just started sharing on social media and you had to share it. And that kind of went, I started sharing my story a little bit. And um,
Mm,
I just like since last March, I've done so much work. Like I want to write a book on it because if I can give that advice to people that are going through it
mm,
and just to know that like it all starts from within. Like, you have to heal all of the conditioning, the trauma,
Yeah.
and I'm newer to this, so
Yeah.
it's a lot. Like, it's truly coming back home, and I'm in this divine feminine container with an amazing woman who's coaching me along just to bring me back to myself, and it's
Wow.
each
Wow.
each time,
And
it's like, it's beautiful. Sorry.
no, no, no. This is so. Let me just go backtrack
Yeah.
a little bit. So 2017, you get a nudge, and I think
Yeah.
people can relate to this,
Yes.
and they can also relate to
I
ignoring it.
totally.
So 2017 through 2020, December 2023, you're in the grind,
Yeah.
and you finally put your foot down and say, "I've had enough of this." But to the point where you actually want to exit.
Yeah. I just
And was the was and I believe me, I can relate to that even this year. And I've been reunited with my beloved for 7 months. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I mean, it's the energy is that intense. I was thinking the other day that the power of the energy of what's happening to us today is more powerful than the energy of the dark nights of the soul that we've had, like you had.
Mhm.
And even though one is, you might say, a high vibration,
Mhm.
and the other one was bleak and dark, and
Yep.
we've been there where you've
Yeah.
been. The energy that we're even right now talking to you, I got chills all over me. This is what's happening,
Yeah.
and this is what I want to dig into. But so 2023 comes around, March 24, you find a group, you start to
Yeah.
express yourself and illuminate. uh, I gotta know though, and I think this would be helpful for women like you, and even men, certainly people with families, because that's another thing that's happening, which you're evidence of, which used to be, and I go back to say 2012, and it was 45 and to 65 and over.
Wow.
That was like 90%, and 90%, 5% of that was women, right?
Mhm.
But what's happening now, these younger people are coming in, and more of them do have are inclined to have families and
Mhm.
such. What was happening? Let's just go from like, you know, after December 23 up to today. What's been the reaction? What's happened with your kids, with your partner? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Are they tapped into? Or they're like, mom's a crazy
No.
fish, whatever?
Um,
Yeah.
my kiddos, I have raised I mean, I have really instilled in them that they can be whatever they want to be, that school I
Mm,
mean, school's good, it's great, but, like, my son had a meltdown this morning because he didn't get his homework done. I'm like, "Buddy, you're 9 years old, you don't have to do the homework. It's not gonna matter later in life." Like, he was so upset,
mm,
and I came up and hugged him, and I was telling a friend about this earlier, and he resisted me for a good 10 seconds, but then I hugged him in more, and then there was that transfer, and I'm like, "Buddy, it's okay."
mm.
Like, that energy and being able to know that I can do that is so beautiful, and they're so attuned to it. They're so especially my daughter, I think she's like an old soul. Like, she puts me in my place, and I'm like so it's yes, they're very in tune. My husband, supports me. Like, I don't know if he thinks I'm crazy or
Well,
not. He's probably watching this, but he supports me in whatever crazy ideas I have, which is great.
over the years on the other show, we had obviously, again, 80% were women,
Yeah.
and many of them did have partners of a masculine and
Mm,
otherwise. But I mean, because of all the talk about the divine feminine, there was just little representation and little um, real life
mhm.
explanation of what was going on from the masculine side. But many of the women, when I would say, "Is your husband awake?" they'd say, "Well, he is, but he doesn't know it." And they would also
Yeah.
say what you just said. He
Yeah.
supports me. He doesn't totally get it. Do you? And I would have to imagine now. How old are your
They
kids?
are 9 and 10.
Okay, so based on my experience with the other show, I would think with the energy of you and the energy of two young children, because these children are lit, as you already
Yes.
know, he would have to be getting some positive pressure. He would have to be thinking
I mean,
something.
I don't it's so hard to tell, like, it. you never know
mm,
if you're being a positive influence on anyone, or if anything is going to
mm,
retain, or so I've learned to surrender. That's really what I've learned to
mm.
do, because anytime I try to control anything, it does not turn out good for me. And then it's
Yeah.
resistance in my body. It's literally like I have to flow, and it's just going to go where it goes. And I've really, like,
Yeah.
even in the last 48 hours, a lot has come in, and I had to sit
Yeah.
with part of it today. I was in a I was invited to apply for a mastermind, and I really had to sit with that because I can't invest the money right now because I'm just starting out, sharing myself, and this opportunity to be on your podcast is part of it. I just want to get my story out there. I want to help others. And I know
Yeah.
since I've raised my frequency, this is crazy, but I have attracted the wounded masculine into my inbox, and they're not men looking at me. They're seeing my soul, if that makes sense, and they're
Right.
asking for
Yeah.
advice. And it's like,
Yeah.
I have that advice because I've been there, I've done that. I'm married, I have that experience. I know that, like, I have enough experience to help women and men both. So I mean, I have
Mm,
such,
mm.
if I want to write a book because my life has been crazy, but I won't take
Mm.
anything back because it's been a wild ride so far. And I even 6 months ago, I wouldn't have done this. And so
Yeah.
the healing journey thus far has been beautiful and crazy and wild, and any other words that I could describe it, but you can sense the energy. So
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I think people can relate
yeah,
to it. So you mentioned in terms of your evolution, raising your frequency. You also mentioned what happened in December of 2023, which again many of us can relate to.
yeah.
Um, what do you think if you had to bring it down to one thing? What would you say it was that you were resisting from the human part of us, or the human part of you? Would you say that it was taking responsibility? In other words,
Literally,
like you know what I mean,
because
like
now I have, yeah,
internalizing.
now
Yeah,
I know what I'm here for, and it's really a big, it is a responsibility. I mean, I
yeah,
know my purpose, and that like it's a lot to put on your shoulders when you're known, like, I know I'm meant to help others heal in whatever way that's going to
right.
be, with my horses, with my Reiki, with, I don't know, people are coming to me now and asking me for advice, and I'm able
Mm,
to give it from a space of,
mm,
like, I've been there, I've been through that. Here, these are the steps that I took to get through that
right,
portion of my life, and that
right,
those dark times when you're alone, like, that is the worst. And I know so many
yeah,
people that are probably there right now, and I just want to help
yeah,
them get out of that, because on the other side of that, it's okay. That's just an emotion. Okay, why is that coming up in my body? And I'm learning all of this, and I'm learning how to regulate, going from, I used to be in a state of literal, like, fight or flight. I lived in fight or flight,
mm,
and I've learned how to
mm,
control that. So I can, like, I could be in a terrible situation, and I can tap into my breath and be like, okay, but I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. Nothing around me. It's good. And it's learning how to do that was key
mm.
to a lot of things that I've been through traumatically lately. Um, if I
Wow.
wouldn't have had those
Yeah, I
tools,
think.
I'm going to be 100,000% honest. I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Well, I've heard this many times, and I've experienced it too.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's something different now. There's like what you represent, uh, because it isn't just. I mean, I did my first 2 years solo on the streets. I mean, I can't even imagine, getting downloaded, because once you open that door, all that stuff starts coming in, and and you talk about the other side. Well, the other side isn't. It isn't all that fluffy
It's
love and
really
light.
not.
It comes
People,
with. I don't. I
and
don't.
it,
Yeah.
you're right.
Right.
People think that, like, once you reached that level that it's all, but no, it's not. There are a lot of things that you're now responsible for. And when someone comes to me, I know they're here for a reason, and I know there's something that I need to do to help them. And I don't know what it is at the time. It usually comes to me. Or I can be at the grocery store and connect with someone,
Mm,
just knowing that there's something within them that needs healing. And it's like my light is
mm,
it's like beaming. I don't know, because I'm new. I'm still newer to this. So it's like it's so beautiful.
mm,
To be that for people, to be that smile they see. Or I talk to everybody. I mean, I'm happy go lucky. I make
mm,
friends at the gym. Literally, I make friends
mm.
standing in the smoothie aisle. Like, just like, I always make it like my number one goal. If I like something on someone, or if I, physically, whatever, I compliment them, because it's so hard to be a human. Like, nobody tells you that
Yeah.
in living.
Well, it's the little things, the little things that keep the
Right.
frequency up, and that's, and again, you look at these things, these explanations, and I've heard for so many years, but if you really look at it energetically, what is it? It's you're basically
Right.
illuminating, you
Yeah,
know,
they
you know
do.
what I mean? And and it's a bit different now. I mean, people used to talk all the time 10 years ago and 5 years ago and 6 years ago, how they kept triggering people because they were
Yes.
so illuminated,
Yeah.
which they probably were, but it was a different situation back then too, because the overall collective consciousness wasn't as friendly
Right.
as it
Right.
is today. I want to ask you
Sure.
about your horses and some of your
Yeah.
healing and some of the other things. Uh,
Oh,
but somebody's got a
Maddie.
question here, and I think you might be able to provide us some insight. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll put it up on here so people can see it. Um, let's see. What do you feel the men want for themselves? The ones that are
Oh,
contacting you, that
yes,
is drawing
Medi,
them
good
to you.
question. So
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm gonna look at them as clients now. I won't mention names or anything, but and they're not paying me, but I told them when they came in my inbox I would keep it private, because if someone's reaching out to another woman, especially
Yeah,
on
of
social
course.
media, for like true advice, that takes some quote unquote balls. So um
Mm,
as the proverbial the word, but one of them is married, and they have three beautiful children, all within a couple of years of each other. And he's going to know I'm talking about him, but it's okay. I won't mention much because I think he's watching. But we have been sharing, just like little tricks and things to help within his relationship. And he's helped, made me look at the masculine from a different view of judging my husband in ways. And it's been kind of cool, because I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try that. This whole, like, all the men that were coming in my inbox, I will be 1000% honest. When I first raised my frequency, and I just found this out today from my coach, because I was still that little girl that wanted the attention I didn't get growing up, I was like, oh, I was
mm,
attracting men like that into my inbox, and they just
mm,
got blocked right away. But it sucks, because I
mm,
wanna be able to help everyone, but if you can't be respectful to a married woman and respect me, for who I am, then you have to go,
mm.
and that's sad. Like, because 'cause I'm a
Yeah.
good person, I mean, but, a couple other ones have just been relationship advice, honestly, like, "Hey, if you were in this
Yeah.
situation, would you like this or like that?" And it's so cool to, like, kinda help people. And I've had girls reach out too, like a lot of women that I'm helping within my healing too. And it's happening fast, and
Now, if I heard you correctly, part of what you were just saying was, from this interaction with these men, you're actually gaining insight
yes.
for yourself in terms of the masculine, understanding that
Yes.
masculine energy, and then you're basically parlaying that into your relationship with
Yeah,
your
it's
husband, which is a powerful thing, because it sounds like a mutual
yes.
equilibrium between, we say it's a, you might use the term
Yes,
practitioner and client, but
it's just
the
a balance,
reality is you're actually,
and we're helping each
yeah, yeah,
other, and it's why not? Like, if we can help each other and not pay thousands and millions of dollars to get the help that, guess what?
mm,
I've been through a lot of therapists. I've been through a lot of therapy, and I got to a point where I wasn't getting a benefit from it, and I don't mean that because I love my therapist. I just haven't been back to her since I hired a divine feminine, amazing woman. She runs a divine feminine container, so I jumped in that in October through November, and then, like,
mm,
I was like, "I feel like I need to stay with you, like, I wanna hire you one-on-one," and she
mm,
has taught me so much about
mm.
we're doing so much, and it's so cool because it was so aligned, and I'm gonna be honest, I've spent a lot of money investing in myself in the last year. I've been through some crazy, crazy things, especially a mastermind that I joined that the the energy there was horrible. At first it was beautiful, but then, like, as the weeks went on, I wasn't the only one that felt it either. And it's just like I wish we could help each other out without charging. And I know there's monetization, you have to pay for everything, but
Well, you
yeah,
don't have to
because
do
it's
anything.
right. Well,
You know what
and
I
you
mean?
have to.
Uh, no, 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 no. I'm just saying, like this is this
Yeah.
is this is good. Like, and
Oh, good
David
question.
put that question up right when you're talking about the same thing. Well, he's saying, how do you transition from being wanted to creating actual exchanges without
Oh,
muddying the frequency? Once money and prices in business. So this is another big change that I've seen.
it's a good
You know,
question.
my 2023 December, I cratered. So I was with you, and we can't be
No,
the
I don't.
only ones. And I had, Morgan and I had come back together, and it'd been a long run with Sology, and I hit the wall. So it almost killed me. Like going into
Yeah.
January and February and so on. And at the time, we had the Sology network, which we had broke away, and we'd created our own website, and we were producing people's shows. I mean, we did like 300 shows, and it was monetized, and
Mhm.
we'd never done that before. And it was a really big step. So without going too deep into that, I'm really not talking about that. I'm talking about what you said and what David asked about. But one of the things I've noticed is that seems to be fading away. And I'm not saying I know what the answer is, but when I listen to you and I observe some of the things that resonate now, there does seem to be, whether it's an official formal session or you go to the grocery store and run into somebody and have an exchange, or you're talking to these men that are
Mhm.
seeking advice from you and you're actually having an equal exchange, you're gaining something that you can apply real time to your life, say to your relationship, and they're also
Mhm.
gaining from you.
Yes,
It's energy. It's
it's
energy.
beautiful.
And I don't know how that's going to go, but it works. It works. And then you have the experience of pain
Mhm.
as at yourself as a quote unquote client, and I've seen that kind of altering too, as people are starting to tap into each other, like what
Yes.
you're experiencing. It sounds like, with many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely, like, even from, like I was saying, from March to, I mean, I did so much last year, and I went down so many little. I had my human
Mm.
design report done. I flew out to Utah to get an intuitive tattoo. I joined this mastermind. I
Wow.
literally have I just decided to just do it. Like, I followed this guy on Instagram, and I thought he was like the coolest tattoo artist, and he shared on his story that he had an opening for a 4-day tattoo or a 2-day tattoo, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna do it. And that's the first time I've ever just chosen to
Mm,
do something for myself, like, actually just go. It was the first trip I'd ever been on by myself, and it was probably one of the most freeing experiences. And, I mean, he does intuitive
mm,
tattoo, so he literally the tattoo that's on my thigh, he had no idea what my horse looked like. He had no idea that my mom, I have peonies on my leg, but that my mom grew peonies as a child, and she used to have them along the house. And when this is really crazy. When I
mm,
got certified to be Reiki, to do Reiki healing, we have to do a 10-minute meditation where you drop in and then you meet your soul guides, whatever. And she said while she was tapped into my energy that she saw because my mom passed away 3 years ago, and it was very abrupt. I didn't really get to say goodbye, and so I didn't get that
Wow.
closure. And so because of
Right.
her not healing, I have literally probably taken everybody's energy and everybody's trauma. So now I had to like be the one to stop it. So that's really one of the things
Yeah.
also that made me like go down the healing journey. But during the meditation, she saw my mother in a white dress picking white peonies. And I was like, how is this happening? Now I have peonies tattooed on me, and oh, Jennifer asked what an intuitive tattoo was. It's where the tattoo artist really taps into energy and meditates and does an amazing piece on your leg. It's really, um, I can
Mm,
share his info later, but he's a really cool guy, and he's the one that told me to go get my human design report done, which really started my healing journey last February. Um,
mm.
the human design report was kind of mind-blowing for me. I was like, okay, all of this stuff, and I resonated with a
Mm.
lot of it, but I didn't really understand most of it. But
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, at the end of the day, it's
yeah,
all information, right? I mean, it's all code and information, and you look at the energetics of what you're describing, this past year's, what is it?
yes,
Year and it's going to
yeah,
be 2
it'll
years
be in
now,
December.
isn't
Yeah, this
it? Well,
I
we're
know, just the
2025
beginning.
now. Oh my God. But yeah, like, so I mean, as you were saying at the very beginning, it's all on you, right? I mean, you're the energy behind all of this. Is really what you're saying ultimately, and you're tapping into which was seen, and like even on Soul Speaks. I mean, these stories and such. But you're tapping into what seems to be a conscious, collective hive mind, you might say. You're being drawn. People are being drawn to you. You're being
Yeah,
drawn certain places. You're doing crazy things and jumping on a plane, going to Utah, and getting an intuitive tattoo, and then as a result of the actions you're taking,
yes.
there's little pieces of the
Yes,
puzzle that
yes,
are on the other
it's so
side.
cool
Yeah.
to, like,
Right.
now that you put it that way, it has been exciting. I'm like, "Oh, there's that. Oh, there's that." And then I've been trusting
Mm,
my intuition, which I didn't know. Always called it, like, the butterfly feeling, or, that feeling when you, I don't know, but
mm,
started listening to just little niches and, like, little, I don't even know what they are, to be honest, and I started following a few of them, and as I followed a few, anytime I go off course, I would literally get physically ill. Something would show up in my body where I would go into like a depressive
yeah.
mode for like a couple days. Not granted, I used to go for like months at a time,
Mm,
but for like a couple of weeks during the summer, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I just want to go back to my life.
mm,
Let me just be who I was. Let me be Heather, and let me just do the thing. And every time I've tried to just go back and do the thing and be whatever,
mm.
it does not
No.
work. And I literally, my body's like, nope, you got to keep going. Like, you've got people, you've got this, you've got that. And it's like, I'm a literal energizer bat or bunny. Like, I'm go, 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 go,
Mm.
go. And
Yeah, I love
s-
when
sometimes I do
go.
you get burned out
Yeah.
too, and I've learned how to listen to my body when I've given too much, and I call my energy back. And that happened about a week ago where I literally laid in my bed. I got off my coaching call. She's like, honey, we can't even do the work, like you're vibrating so low. She's like, go take a bath. She's like, go take care of yourself, and then let me know in a few days how you're doing. So it's nice to have that person that can kind of kick me in the butt and be like, "Hey, you're not doing it right." And it's cool to have a
Mm,
teacher. And she's probably one of the most beautiful humans in my life
mm,
right now, or
mm,
souls. She's and if I didn't, I mean, it's just like it's beautiful. It's truly beautiful to find like-minded people that just want to do the good
yeah.
thing. Want everything to you get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you just said it right now. I mean, we've made a joke about it a while ago, but here you are 2 years into what you're saying, into really, getting through, getting into it. And you still have this moment where you've got to go into your room and lay on the bed and just do nothing. right? Have you found, because I know people have talked about it, it seems like it's, you know, for years and even right up to today, people would say, you know what, it's coming in faster, it's bigger,
Mhm.
it's processing quicker, uh, but there's still these
Yeah,
these these
the down
depths that you
yeah.
go to, or and it may just be, you know, that you got to integrate or whatever. But I guess what I'm saying is, have you? Because I've seen this a little bit. Are you finding that you must have solitude, whether it be because we know time isn't what we think it is, but
Mhm.
like where you've got to put yourself first. In other words, even given your responsibility as a wife and a mother and a friend, and
Honestly, yeah, I have chosen myself because I have a purpose, and if I can't be of
yeah,
service, then what good am
yeah,
I? Like, I literally, what good am I if I can't help people? Like, so I do actually people call me self-centered now and, say that I'm high maintenance, and all I've done is really just take care of my
yeah,
body, like, and really put myself first. I am very conscious about what goes in my body, and I'm telling you right now, if I eat something that my body lets me know if I eat
yeah,
bad. I've really focused on doing the inner healing too, because if I'm not at my best, what good am I?
yeah.
I mean, that's the way that I feel, and I need to be at my best. I have beautiful children. I have so much to do.
You know,
So,
it's interesting too because you know, I mean, I basically took off a year, which was 2024. You know, and went into that space, and with in the energy like you did,
yeah.
or not to the extent that you did, but it felt like death. There's been a lot of that, right? Um, my
Yeah.
screen just went out. But what I was going to say is, God, I forgot now because my screen just went out. Hang on. Um,
Well, we can see you,
yeah, yeah.
but you can't.
God, what was I saying? I forgot now.
You disappeared for a year.
Oh, but it was something about the trend. Okay, the trend, and you just talked about something. I can't remember what it is. The trend of what's happening to people, right? Like
Yeah.
what's actually happening to people. Like, for instance, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? I mean, and we won't talk about these things on the show, not because it's
No,
not relevant, but because we're relevant. Okay, and what I'm saying is, you know,
exactly.
you've got fires and you've got earthquakes and you've got wars and you've got politics and you got this and that and all that
Yeah.
stuff, but there's a consciousness that is becoming more embodied in a more vast group of
Yes.
people that is putting themselves first. Now if we go back to the Trinity, you know, the 369, the Trinity, that, and
Mhm.
then you're talking about, now I have a purpose, I know I need to be of service. That seems to be where we're at now. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, but like when you take care of yourself, you're basically doing the best thing you could be doing for your partner, for your kids, and for the
Yes.
collective. And now we're trying to marry that with my service, with my others, you know, my significant
Exactly.
others. Like for me, it'd
Yes.
be me, Morgan, the collective, right? How do you resonate or not with that? Is that what you focus on? It's like
I
trying
do
to marry all of them.
I do take care of myself. Like,
Mm,
and I definitely, because if I don't, then I'm not a good mom. I mean, if I'm not like conscious about what goes in my body anymore, I literally go into, like, if I have too much, if I have sugar, it's not good. Like,
right.
I turn into a mean mom, and it's because I've really regulated what goes. And not saying that I don't eat candy, because I sure do.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
but I have noticed if I'm not
sure.
taking care of if I'm
Mm,
not taking care of myself, I'm not
right.
the best person to be around,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I need to
That's
take care of
yeah.
myself.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say, and I just remembered now, and it's coming out with you. At the tail end of 23, as I was winding down, you know, that 12 years of, you know, that first part of, you know, what I was
Yeah.
doing in service with Sology, um, we were talking about the body. People would come on the show like, "Hey, my body's, you know," so it's like
Mhm.
the voice slash consciousness of the body in our multidimensionality, like the body has come online as a aspect basically. It's like the command center. And I think you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I just wonder, how you correlate that. Like you said, something to the degree, if I'm off track or this, and I'm not balanced or whatever,
Yeah.
my body starts to have a problem somewhere. Are you able to pick up on what it is specifically that you're missing based on where it's located in your body?
I'm working on that right now.
Mm, mm,
I've been having horrible right side pain.
mm,
Horrible. Like, and I've had my appendix out because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me back in the day, so they just took my appendix. And now I'm having super, super horrible right side pain, and I ignore stuff. I mean, if it's just that, I'm like, whatever, no big deal. Well, it's been very persistent, and yesterday and today it was screaming. I literally felt like I was having like I don't know what it was, but it felt like someone stabbed me. And the whole time I was over, I clean a barn for my friend 5 days a week, and it's 12 stalls, and these stalls are
mm,
heavy. And I'm like trying to pitch the manure, and I'm like, my side is telling me something's wrong. And so I ignored it, drank some water, got back, got on my call with my coach, and I told her, and she goes, "Are you kidding me?" She goes, My right side is hurt all day too." Because we're tapped into that like same frequency. She's like, "You're holding on to anger or resentment." She goes, "You need to let it
mm,
go into your body, see where you feel it." And then she's taught me how to take that negative energy and move it up and alchemize it into something good. And that's literally the power of healing your own body. Like
mm,
when I found out that we truly can do that, like I was mind blown. Like, and that's, with the energy healing that I do, I mean, a couple people that have come to me, it's what I'm meant to do. So I'm seeing results, and it's, some of them are like, did you really just like help me through that? Like and then I said, because I'm newer, so I sit there and I'm like, "I just did this. Like, this is
mm.
amazing, like, helping people, and it's truly, truly working." And
You're
it feels
you're replicating what was done for you, basically, right?
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, you're mirroring what was mirrored to you. You're reflecting what
yeah.
you reflected onto those who might be called a practitioner, those who
Yes,
showed you the
yes.
way, the teachers and so on that you're talking about.
Yeah, and it feels good to be of service, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm,
Like, when someone comes to me and they need advice, I'm very direct with certain things. I had a friend that I told her not to do something with someone, and she did it anyway, and I had to, let her have that lesson. And I love her. She's probably listening, so she knows I'm talking about her. But I couldn't enable her. I could be there for
yeah,
her and hold space and hold energy, but I couldn't be like, "All right, here's $1,000 or here's this or here's that," because in that dark place that she's in, I can hold space, I can help, I can be there energetically, but I can't be there any other way,
yeah.
if that makes any like,
Well,
that's
when you stopped or when we stopped, I mean, enabling yourself, it's pretty hard to enable other
yeah,
people. I mean, it's
yeah.
and I think that's another thing too. It's so interesting talking to you because I can remember in the early days, people waking up. It's the same pattern. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
But again, the collective was a bit different, and there was a lot of wounded healer. There was a lot of because of not because of anybody wasn't sharp enough. It wasn't about that. It was the
mhm,
same thing. You had this urge to serve, but there was still stuff to clean up in house, right? But as time has gone on, uh, you're seeing a little bit of a change in that. The what would you say? Like it's more cohesive, like
yes.
it's moving in a like, for instance, you still have things come up now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you're still, and it'd almost be like, how can you help? Like right now, say you were in that period when you're laying on the bed and you close the door and the lights are off and whatever. That's not the time to help somebody. Right. You
No,
know what I
no,
mean?
it's not, no.
Right. Like
No,
you.
and I know, I literally know, and I will isolate myself because I
Mm,
don't want to bring that frequency around anyone. I mean,
yeah.
who wants to be
Yeah.
around me when I'm here instead of here? So I really have focused on trying to stay at the frequency I'm at because it's of service, and I know that's where I need to be. So I will literally do the healing work in order to stay where I'm at. And
Yeah.
and I'm newer to this healing space, and I look at a lot of, and I'm probably going to get knocked for this, but there are so many people out there pretending to be healers and
Mm.
charging so much money for things because they can energetically talk you into it. And that if I mean, and it
I don't know if that's,
they
well,
keep your,
everything's energy. You're right.
but you know what I mean, like
But
play on your
yeah,
vulnerability.
well, I mean, I
And
think that's, yeah. And again, what is that? That's an old pattern. And I think we can all know we went through a lot,
yeah,
especially kind of like coming into this year, or really last year. I think it was, getting broke down, which is what anything from back there can't come with us. So that includes
right.
the business model, that includes the practices. And although with this election and other things that have gone on, you're seeing a lot, so kind of surprisingly, seeing a lot of polarity. And some of that polarity in the light worker community, you're seeing where people are saying, things like what you're talking about, which is legit.
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with that. But also at the same time, just like with your friend you were talking about,
Yeah,
you can't no longer enable yourself, and you can't enable your friend. And I think we're getting to the point now where we're just not going to enable those
exactly.
things. And like
Yes,
these big things on the world stage, and I know
they'll
it sounds
disappear.
a little bit cliche-ish, but it's not, because the fact is we're enabling it if we're bitching about it. That's really what, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I do know exactly what you mean,
Mm.
and it's like the more you pay attention, I don't even watch TV. I will
Mm.
throw on, like, Netflix stuff. I love documentaries.
Yeah.
Like, I watched the JLo one, I watched the Lady Gaga one, the Taylor Swift
Mm.
one, 'cause I like to get to know, like, the star before they became a star, and some of those documentaries are really cool.
Mm.
Um, but I don't watch a lot of
Well,
TV anymore just because of that.
you know who invented Netflix, don't you?
I don't know if I wanna know. I
the,
don't
the
know.
the grandson of the Nazis, propagandist.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So I mean,
interesting.
but see, these things, all these things that are being disclosed and such. Again, I see kind of this transition. And again, you represent it. I can see it. I can feel it. Even like with these messages I'm getting, it's a different ballgame now. And it's it's like. Those externals are no different than the externals that the blinders have been taken off, and we're seeing now. We're no longer going to be overgivers. You know what I mean? We're not going to be overtakers. It's this equality, this equilibrium doesn't just apply to people. It applies to organizations, to countries,
Mhm.
to beliefs. I mean, this is some deep stuff that's happening. Um,
Yeah.
and I think you reflect that, and it's interesting because it's happening, what, 12 years, 13 years since 2012. And that's what I was going to say. You keep saying I'm new to this, but I
But
think
not
a lot of
really.
people, a lot, yeah, but a lot of people, I think, would agree.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, if I woke up in 2011 in May and you woke up in 2023 in December for good,
Mhm.
the fact is the information is moving so quickly and we're expanding so quickly. You're right where I'm at. I'm right where you're at. You know what I mean? And if
Mhm. I
not,
do.
every time you come into contact and kind of merge that energy with another person, and it's conscious, and to
Oh,
what
yeah.
degree it's transparent, then
Right.
you walk away with a lift. Everybody walks away with a lift.
Yes.
It's interesting the way it's working.
It
It
really
really is.
is when you can do that, when and if
Mm.
more people could do that, like,
Mm.
I really
Uh-oh. What happened? Yeah, I'm back.
okay.
I'm back.
Um, I was like, "Where? No."
Well, that's the
Um,
thing. Oh yeah, go ahead. There's
no,
a lag. No, that's the
a
thing
lag.
though. Oh wait, yeah. Oh, but that's it. But that's the thing. And so much of what has showed itself in the past. And I'm going to say 2024, because I know I'm
Yeah, it
not the
was
only one. I know I'm not the only one. And it is like there's these cut and dry things. Like, for instance, with me, with the work I've done over the years, if I'm focusing on what's not occurring with that person or that group or
Mhm.
this or that, that to whatever degree that is, say it's 8 degrees, well, that's 8 degrees from 100 that I'm not focusing on myself. And I don't know about you, but I need 100% of me. And that's what you talked about earlier,
Yeah. Yeah,
taking
and
the
it's
time. Yeah.
you have to take the
Yeah.
time, um,
Yeah.
and if you don't, your body's literally going to you're as my coach, my vessel, it's gonna you're gonna get sick. You're gonna have dis-ease. I mean,
Mm,
it's very obvious. I mean, I still
mm.
am healing from losing my mom. I literally
Yeah.
quit taking care of myself. I just
How long did you say that was?
I lost her in November of 21.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that
I'm
really
sorry.
kind of started a 2-year almost depression to where I
Mm,
just didn't. And through that, I went through a separation with my husband. A lot
mm,
happened. We
mm.
obviously are together today, but
Yeah.
those couple years, I did not take care of myself. And my body told me, my nervous system, which is your hair is a direct reflection of your nervous system. My hair
Yeah.
fell out, like, and
So
I'm
did
still
mine.
fine. I'm starting to get it back, but when you neglect your body, it's
Mm,
going to let you know,
yeah.
because you have to take care of your outer
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well as your inner.
21. And here's another point that you're bringing up, which I think again needs to get out there. So 21 for me too, my hair starts falling out, and I started bitching about it. I'd be on the show like my hair's falling out. Everybody's like, my
Oh my
hair's falling,
gosh,
my
yes.
hair's falling out. But like what
Yep.
you were talking about with the pain on your right side, and then your friend had it, and I see this all the time with Morgan and the sisters that she works with. Right? I mean,
Mhm.
like just the people that she's touching through her work, where she'll have something going on and then within 24 36 hours 2 days 4 or 5 of them are they're all it's happening to all of them.
Yep.
So that's another thing that seems to be surfacing is there truly is a collective
Mhm.
kind of a realignment or a collective healing or however you want to put it
Yes.
that's actually affecting people in similar ways at the
Mhm.
same time. So it's collective, but it's personal at the same time. That's kind
Yes.
of weird. That's kind of a
It
you know.
is, which was very interesting, for both of us, 'cause she couldn't believe it when I told she's like, "Wait, what?" And, I think everything's just it's starting to move fast, like, a lot faster
Yeah,
than
it's
like,
well, I mean,
for
it's
especially for me, the downloads, the ear like, I will be alright, I posted a TikTok the other night. I was in my bathroom cleaning and, like, I call it my flow. I'm just flowing in
mm,
life, doing my stuff I have to get done, and all of a sudden, I felt like I fell asleep, woke up, and I was like, "Where am I?" Like, and my ears started ringing, and I'm like, "I'm in the bathroom cleaning," and so I posted a video. I'm like, "I don't know where I just went, but I'm just," and I shared this amazing story about how blessed I am and how
mm,
happy I am, and
mm,
it just rolled. It like I
right.
didn't even remember. I know it sounds kind of weird and out there, but I'm like, I don't know what it was, but it was
It's
cool.
transparent.
Like,
It's
yeah,
transparent.
and it was just like there's the real me, there's my soul speaking, saying that she's finally at a place where she's able to help others because she's done the work. And
Yeah.
it like and that's really what's got me so excited just about being of
Well,
service, like,
and
you know?
she's able to help her, and she's able to help herself.
Yes,
I'm able to help
yes.
myself first. Let me ask you, December 2023. 2017, you get the nudge. You ignore it like
Yeah.
we all can relate to. 23 comes. You have that point, that point where it's total surrender. I'm out of here. Get me out of here. How much on a scale of 1 to 10 would you say that you loved yourself January 24 versus today?
I probably going into the beginning of that year, I looked at myself as a 1.
Really?
Like,
Wow.
yeah, I didn't like who I was. I mean, it was all the conditioning, literally all of the conditioning
Mm,
as to you have to be a certain height, you have to have this, you have to have that,
mm,
and like the bullying and the boyfriend, like it just it's a lot, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
to come back and love yourself for who you are, but not just on the outside, the inside. And I'm absolutely in love with myself now. And if that sounds conceited, it's like telling you that I love you as a
Mm,
soul. It's
yeah.
I love who I am, and I don't let the negative in anymore. I used to be one of those people that was like, oh my gosh, did they say that about me? They don't like me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, not even on
Fuck
the
it.
same frequency anymore. I don't care. I don't, because I've done the work and this is who I
Yeah.
am. And
We're doing the work. We're doing the work.
yes, I'm doing it. Yes, we're
Yeah.
never going to
We're
be
doing
done.
it.
And if
What?
people don't like this version of me, this is this is my purpose. So I'll be
Yeah.
the happy-go-lucky person that people
Well,
can.
I mean, imagine, imagine like, let's just say in other dimensions, or we can use the terms. I mean, these words are just not
Words.
applicable like they used to be. But say higher dimension. A soul is not a soul energy is not going to encroach upon another soul energy. Like stay in your own lane kind of thing.
Mhm.
And we've been in a realm that's been constant, interruption and invasion and power over and so on. So really,
Right.
again, I think what you're exemplifying is you're being yourself, you're finding yourself, you're being
Yes.
yourself, and that's really, and you're also expressing yourself, and I think that's what this movement is becoming, which is very interesting because there might have been 100 podcasts in 2015, of
Mhm.
this nature, and now they're all over the place, right? I mean, and that's a good thing because it's these personal stories that are really making the difference at the boots on the ground level, right? We think we have to
Mhm.
build this giant
Huge.
conglomerate and get everybody to come
Yes.
into the circus tent, but really
But
it's
you
like
don't.
guerrilla fighters. We're doing it one by one, but the math is changing and it's becoming very exponential. And I think that's what's going to be interesting this year. The way everything's moving so fast, and how is that actually going to affect things?
Yeah. It is interesting.
Mm,
It's like I was in this master well, I did this interview with this mastermind, and I think I told you about that. I was like, it would have been an investment to be in that group for a year, and I just energetically, I was like, I can't do that right now. I'm
mm.
not I've invested in myself enough, and I've done enough of the work that the souls that are meant to find me are going to find me.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I
I
think that
know
keep going.
I don't need to learn how to bring the right people in.
Right.
Um,
Well, and then
they're
what you
just gonna
said earlier, I have a bad connection.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, no, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what you said earlier too, and what I was saying about the Sology network, and this again follows the pattern of many people that I've come into contact with, which was you can't bring anything with you.
No.
So like I'm doing this thing for 12 years, and I'm hearing you got to let it all go, and
Yeah.
eventually just just had to shut it down. Right? We just had to shut the network down and move away from, and again, everybody's different, just like you talked about with the eating. Everybody's different. That's another thing. I don't see the adamancy of people going, you've got to be a vegan, you've got to do this, and you don't
I
have
don't
sugar.
either.
But people are
Like
just saying, I can't eat sugar, like you were saying, or I can't do this. I'm finding,
Mhm.
I'm eating things that I never ate before, and I'm not eating things that I always wanted
Yeah.
to eat. I mean, there's just, and it's like beyond explanation. It's just
It's a
happening.
completely different diet. Like, what
Yeah.
I crave now, I crave lion's mane mushrooms, like, I get them every week. There's an
Mm,
organic guy that sells them, and I eat a lot
mm,
of greens and a lot of meat, just red meat, like,
mm,
and that really has and I've worked on my fitness and everything, but it's really I found what works for my body, and
mm,
people wanna like, they wanna know, they wanna buy it. They, like, train me, "Do this, do that," and I'm like, "I can't tell you what worked for me is gonna work for you because your body's completely different."
mm,
So, I mean, it took me a year and a half to kind of figure out just to stay, for me, for my outside to look the way I look, and that was one of my big goals was to like any woman, in society, we're meant to be skinny and perfect, and I hate that about society. I hate that we're so programmed to look a certain way. But now I honestly don't care what people think I look like. I mean, I'm covered in tattoos and I'm just
Intuitive
me now.
tattoos. Intuitive tattoos.
Yes,
How
one
do,
intuitive
how,
tattoo.
how do, and honestly, how do you see your field? There's no right or wrong answer. How do you see your field? Is it your body, or do you feel it's bigger than your physical body?
Yeah, I do. And it's sometimes I think I'm literally like I still question it. I still question all I'm like, is this real? Like,
Hmm.
like it and it's so fun. People my coach laughs at me. She's like, "You're so cute, Heather. You know what you're talking about." And I'm like,
Hmm.
"But I don't, but maybe I do." So,
Have
yeah.
you, through this last 2 years of the metamorphosis, have obviously you've gained friends.
Yeah, I've lost
Have you not lost, as in to hell with them, but just separated? Has there been a
yep,
lot of separation
a
after
lot.
you?
Like
Yeah.
I literally don't let a lot of people into my life anymore. I
Mm,
say no a lot,
mm,
especially if the energy doesn't align. I and if like the other night we were out with a couple friends for dinner and I was just done. I was just like, I'm going. I don't like this. And it wasn't anyone or anything. It was just I wanted to be home and I drove myself home.
right, right.
It's just
I
like, and
love
I,
those. Yeah.
oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Oh, lost you again.
Very good you are.
Yeah.
But I don't have a
I'll
lot of
have to
friends.
get
I mean,
this
I
part
have
worked out.
friends, but
Mm,
not people that I talk to on a daily basis because I don't
yeah,
want to share a lot anymore, if that makes
yeah.
sense. I have probably 3 really close friends that I talk to, plus my spouse and,
I I talked to Morgan. That's it.
yeah.
I went
But
totally recluse for the last year and a half.
I started sharing on social media and I definitely have had a lot of people, like I was talking earlier, that have come into my inbox, and some of the messages now, learning that that also takes your energy,
Mm,
I leave them. I don't check them
mm.
because and I've shared on like stories on my Instagram is where I normally talk. I'm like the importance of me taking time for myself. I don't want to look like I'm being rude or anything because it's not like I'm some big famous person, but we all need that time. We all need if I'm trying to help one person, another person, but I'm not pouring back into myself, like we said, we get tired. And
Well, it's
even
yeah.
yeah,
It's like, but I mean, it's a learning curve too. I mean, there's
it
no
is
question.
really.
If you look at the pattern of awakening or whatever you want to call it, that download that not the one you got in 2017, the one you got in 2023, that one that comes in and says you don't have another choice. Or like Dick Gregory, I love to listen to him sometimes, and some of his old videos, and he says when the universal God puts those magic glasses on you, you don't have a choice. You can't go back. So
Yeah.
from that point, you can see the pattern. I can see it in 2012, 14, myself and other people. So there's almost like this, wow, it's almost like a new toy. And like, oh my
Mhm.
God. And then you kind of go, oh, wait a minute. I'm actually falling into the pattern that I came from, which is
Yeah.
giving, 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 giving. I'm depleted,
Yes.
depleted, depleted
Yep.
because I've taken on
Too much.
another identity. Let's face it. That's why I put in the post yesterday when I said, we've talked about our past lives, we've talked about
Mhm.
our attributes, and they're still relevant. That's not the point. This is the point. You're the point. Heather in the flesh, body, mind, spirit, soul is the point. And there's a human development or new experiential occurring that I don't think anybody really knows what the hell it is. But it
Mhm.
seems to be telling us, hey, you you're in the driver's seat. And that's not
Right.
some fluffy new age
No.
BS. It actually works, but it only works with taking the responsibility for it.
Yeah. And that's literally why you have to take care of yourself. Just
Yeah.
like Jennifer said in the chat, like burnout. Burnout's
Mm-hmm.
real. And
Yeah.
that's when you go down into those lower frequencies and you literally beat yourself up because you don't think you're good enough. I've been through so many
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
and I don't want to go back there ever again, to be honest, which you can't say never. You never know what's going to happen, but
Yeah, you have to be open. You have to be open to the good stuff and the
and the
stuff that
bad
doesn't look so good. Yeah. Well, I mean,
or
the
yeah,
well, that's it. Like you said earlier. The one good thing about going through those dark, those
whatever it
dark nights
is.
is
Yeah.
on the other side there's going to be huge gifts.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's. Let me ask you this too, because there's been a discussion over the last year, 2 years. I can't even hardly. Can you ever think in linear terms? It's very difficult for me.
No.
Like, oh, that was last month, that was last year. But where there was so much emphasis on the shadow work,
Mm-hmm.
and then it started to kind of go through this other thing, and it's not that the shadows aren't there and that they're not going to show themselves. It's just not like, oh my God, that's where all my energy's got to be because I got to heal, 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 heal.
Right. Right.
There's something else happening, which I think again, people like you are exemplifying, which is create. It's like we're learning how to create again,
Yes.
uh, in a different way with a different set of principles, geometry, mathematics, language, etc. Yeah.
I agree with that. It's kind of
Um,
cool to be in the creative space. It really
yeah, it
is.
is. So I wanted to ask you, with that in mind, uh, like, what is there something? You don't have to tell us what it is, but like, is there something that you like? If you look at yourself and said, okay, this is my biggest weakness, or this is my deepest program, I'm still working on it. I don't have it figured out yet, but yet it's not like taking me down every day. I'm
Mhm.
still creating. Do you look at it that way, or do you just get out there and start bawling, you know, and that they're going to come as they come, and then you'll deal with it as it comes,
That yeah, I literally just deal with it as
as
it
it comes.
comes. Yep, I do
Yeah,
because if I worry about it, then I'm putting my attention where it doesn't need,
yeah,
there's no point in worrying about anything. You're gonna have the lows.
yeah,
It's just how you choose to go through those lows and if you're going to self-sabotage and create bad habits like drinking or drugs or anything to numb that instead of working through that,
mm,
that's where it gets tricky. And then you stay there because you're numbing it and you're not bringing it to surface. You're not working through it.
yeah,
And that I quit drinking. I do have I'll have a glass of wine when we go out or one or two drinks maybe here and there, but
mm,
I've really just sat with those where I used to drink. I'm like, I don't want to deal with those emotions. And because I grew up with alcoholic parents, I think it was just like in me to do the same thing they did. I mean,
yeah,
so I never
and
dealt with any emotions.
yeah. Well, I mean, again, this is something that seems to be, part in one way or another. Sometimes energy looks
Mhm.
different, in different people's stories. Mother and father, though, you mentioned, and mother and father, two most important beings in
Yeah.
our lives. I mean, I think there's, Morgan always says, your father's Father God, your mother's Mother Goddess. I mean, that's, whether you knew him or you didn't know him. What's your relationship, in terms of that connection? I don't mean like, traditional, because I know
No,
your
no.
mom
Uh,
transitioned, but like, how do you look at your parents now as opposed to 3 4 years ago? Is there a difference in
yes, there's
terms of?
such a difference. I
Yeah.
used to be so upset with the way that I was raised and the
Mm,
experiences and what I didn't get to do. And then
mm,
as I've healed, I just literally worked on the motherhood wound and released anything that I had against my mom. And
mm,
we did the work or it was 2 weeks ago. And my coach was like, you probably are going to be tired and worn out. 'Cause I worked with writing my mom for 20 minutes a day. For one day, I had to tell her everything I despised about her, everything I hated, like all the things that I didn't like. And then for the next 6 days, for 20 minutes a day, I had to write how that would have looked in my best view, as a little girl. I
mm,
had a lot of trauma and it's fine. It's made me who I am.
mm.
But I used to blame my parents for the way I am. And
Yeah.
I look at my dad, he's not in my life. I don't know where he's at. When my mom passed away, I let him know and I gave him a choice. and he decided not to stay in my life.
Mm.
So I have a stepdad, but my mom and I had a really, you know, it was a rough upbringing, but she did the best she could, literally. Like, she was amazing.
Yeah,
And I
your parents are just people.
they're
They
just
just
trying
happen
to
to be
do
your
the thing.
parents. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
what I mean. Like,
I
it's funny because oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
There's a lag.
Your leg.
I know. No, it's funny because many times over the years, um, be having a conversation like this, and their mother would come up or whatever the case was, and I was guilty of it until 2 or 3 years ago. Like, well, but this is an exception to
But
everything. I'm
yep.
an exception to everything. You know what I mean? Like, but the reality is, and maybe it's because I've been able to realign with my parents, and then see the simultaneous uh, effect within
Mhm,
myself. You know what I mean? Within my own masculine, my own feminine. But so on that point, like as you are making this, bringing into alignment with your parents, or say your mother. We'll just keep it with your
mhm.
mom right now. When you do this work, do you see any change in your relationship with your children?
I
Does it
do.
affect?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, because of the childhood I had, I definitely love my babies very hard. I don't
Mm,
want them to go through what I went through, but I'm also not overly protective. I let them experience things.
mm,
But the world that I was in as a little girl is completely different than what it is today. So I'm very protective about my children going to sleepovers and because if you don't know the people, even if you know that you never know.
yeah.
I don't know if that's
No,
the
no, that's.
overprotectiveness in me because of when I was a child, I was left alone a
Mm,
lot and things
mm,
happened. But I like to protect them, but
mm,
I don't over mom them. I don't. I
mm.
treat them as two little individual souls that want completely different things in life already and are completely different entities. Like they're amazing and they're
Yeah, they're
such
they're gonna
bright
they're
little
gonna move the way they want to move. I think these young kids are gonna be
yes.
they're setting the tone. They're coming in knowing, and I think that COVID thing, or the mandates, whatever, lockdowns, whatever. I think that changed, that worked in favor of that.
Yes, it was
They
nice.
yeah, they're starting to go like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing
Yeah,
that.
and my
Like your
my
son with the
kiddos were
homework thing. Yeah.
yeah, they were young. They were in kindergarten and pre-K,
Mm,
and it was stressful because we had to be on Zoom things every day, and I'm like, "My
mm,
kid's in kindergarten, you want them on a computer for 8 hours? That's
mm.
not gonna happen. Like, sorry, we're gonna go have fun." Like, so,
There's
yeah, COVID
there's
definitely changed.
Oh, no doubt. There's a lot of talk too. Now I feel, for years we talked about the angelics, the elementals, the galactics, blah blah blah. But the Earth, in particular, in terms of, in respect to what your lifestyle's like, animals.
Mhm.
I know two ladies I've had on the shows a few times that do healing with horses.
Yep,
Okay,
that's what I do.
I visited one of their houses one time and actually hung out with the horses, but do you involve your horses in the healing? And if so, how?
I do, yeah, I do. So when I became Reiki certified, I'm like, man, like there has to be every time I've been down, every time I've needed anything, I just go out and hug my horse. And their energy
Mm,
is, I can't explain it, but I can tap into each horse at the barn. I know, and it's maybe it's a power, I don't, whatever. It's the frequency. I can know if a horse has been abused. They tell you. They literally tell you without telling you. And they
that's
are
what.
one of the
Yeah.
most they're just one of the most magnificent animals, and had I known that, like, years ago, I probably could have become, like, a famous trainer for training horses the proper way, but,
So you've
they just
you you're so you're hearing
yeah,
them in a way you haven't heard them before these last couple of years,
yes. Yep, yep,
and they're
energetically.
talking to you.
Literally, like, and it's It's so cool because today I was in my feelings and I was trying to clean stalls and I bent over to lift the pitchfork up, and the biggest horse in the barn, he's only a 2-year-old, he came and just pushed down on my neck, and he just
Mm,
sat there, and he was just putting all his weight on, and it was literally just to, like, "Take a break, Heather, like, you need to take a break. Your kidney hurt," like, my side hurt, and it's like, they know. They're so smart, like,
yeah.
and their energy, especially in the healing, I've had 2 clients out so far towards the end of summer last year, and I mean, I have reviews, like, my horse knew exactly where to go on their body, like, one of the women suffered from a
Really?
lot of sexual trauma in her life, which we hold in our womb. It's proven.
Mm.
My horses go right there and just sit, and he was nuzzling, and, like, it she felt it, I felt it, and it's just this magnificent energy that the horses can amplify when you're doing healing on humans. It's becoming a bigger thing. There's actually something on Instagram. There's a group going around, actually videoing these experiences, and it's gonna be a movie that's coming up, and I use
Wow.
a lot of their, because they'll do interviews with all of these amazing human beings, and I use their, like, interview as, like, my background noise on my reels, and it's so cool to know that, like, horses are definitely, like, up and coming healers as well, and people are tapping into that just like you said. You have
Well,
friends that do it, and
I
it's
think it's
it's
bigger.
it's
It's even
so
bigger
cool.
than. Yeah, I think it's even bigger than the horses. I think that's just
Yeah. It's
part of
part of,
what we're
yeah.
coming into. I mean, I'm just speculating because all I can say is like up into through 2023, um, coming out of all that, that say that 12 years, through 2023,
Mhm.
uh, from 2012, I came out the other side totally going, I don't know shit. I don't know anything. Every day is a new ascension or whatever you want to
Mhm.
call it, a new growing up or a new life, or because it's just changing. So one of the things I'm speculating, I'm not saying that prophecy, but that the realization that it's not just you and me, but it's these animals. First
Mhm.
it's going to be the domestic, the dogs, the cats, the
Domestic,
horses, and
yep.
many people that have had close connections with these types of souls, and they are souls.
Mhm.
In other words, there's almost like a hierarchical position we have taken because we still
Mhm.
have an ego that these downloads and all this information coming in that we're but at the same time that I don't know, is there a difference between your horses and you, as souls?
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, like, and I'm
They are,
saying this,
it's true.
speculating, like, is this the kind of thing that we're going to come in? We think of collective um, awakening and multidimensionality. Oh, I'm going to know all this, and I can pull from the akashic and just
Mhm.
whatever. But is it as simple as everything that's right in front of our faces, right? Like if we're multidimensional and we have access to lineage and this and that, do they not?
Mhm.
And how did you, as an
Right.
example, how did you make the transition? How did you figure out, hey, I'm going to bring people here and have my horses collaborate with me to heal somebody?
That it came to me when during my healing journey, I was like,
Mm,
"Man, these animals have been here for me."
mm,
And that it was last March. I'm like, I need to do something." Like that's when I was like, "All right, let's go. I need to start my
mm,
I wanted to start a business." Like I was like, I need to help people, but I didn't know how. And I had my Reiki master. She's like, the horses, and like I'm like, that is a really, like, and that's always been in the back of my mind. And she's like, you can help women heal through horses too. And
mm,
then she actually did a practice one out here. She brought her table and worked with one of my horses. And I'd always known of their healing ability, their energy, but never really thought on how I could help others experience it. So
mm.
It
Do
just
they
came
ever
to me like,
do they ever give you information like what would you say, like intel, whether it be personal or collective? Like, hey, it could be like a storm's coming, or
oh
something
yeah,
just hit
they
the.
let you know when weather's coming or when something's off for sure. And they know if there's something wrong with you, which is like if you're riding and you're scared, they know that. Like they know
Yeah,
before you even get on them. They're
yeah,
very, very intelligent.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just nobody's really paid attention to it. Animals are very intelligent. Like,
Absolutely.
I
I
mean, my
I remember.
dog, very
Yeah,
intelligent.
absolutely, they are. There's no question about it. They might be. They're probably more tapped in than the human beings have been.
I know.
You know,
Sometimes I think my dog looks at me like, "What the hell is she doing?" Like,
I mean, when you think about it, I mean, we can talk about vegan, we can talk about this and that. I mean, I get an urge. I eat a lot of eggs, but there'll be 5 or 6 days. I've got to eat some meat. My body's wants
mhm,
protein. Like, so I don't
yep,
have all those answers, but it would only make sense to me that this expansion is bigger than the humans. It's all of it, and
mhm.
killing is killing. You know what I mean? It's like, or you know what I mean? Like, if we're literally
I
making,
mean, yeah,
what I mean? It would only make sense to me that's at least a possibility, and certainly to be open to that possibility.
yeah,
I don't know why
definitely.
my screen keeps going out. Well, we got about 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Let's see here. What would you like to say, or what do you feel like you
I'm
want to
just
get into?
I'm really excited that you allowed me to come on your podcast. It really means a lot to me. Like I said, I just started just sharing who I am on social media, and
Mm,
that's just who I am. I want at least someone, if they're scrolling, see me dance in the barn being silly. If that can make someone's day and then bring someone, to me for
mm.
help, if I can do that, then like I know I'm doing the right thing. So
What are your dreams?
really, I'd love to have a horse Reiki practice. I'd love to have a beautiful barn and just to wake up and be able to go work with a few clients and have people coming in, and like, I just want to help people. And if the horses and I can do that together, whether
Well,
it's the horse assisted or whatever,
so when
I don't
you
really
say
have any
horse,
big dreams. Oh, go ahead.
well, that's a hell of a dream. I think that's a great dream. That would be a Trinity energy. I mean, that's like a serving each part of that Trinity with equal degree. But you mentioned horse Reiki, and I know the friends that I was referring to.
Mhm.
I don't remember the details, but I don't remember that part being in there. And you mentioned twice about the horse coming and putting their head somewhere. So they're
Yep.
doing the Reiki.
They
They're
they
performing
know,
the Reiki.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
and then my energy combined with them,
Right.
it's literally probably double the amount
Mm-hmm.
of healing in one session that you can
Mm-hmm.
get done, because it's the horse that amplifies everything.
Yeah.
Their energy is just, and at first I thought maybe I invited a woman out. I knew she was going through I didn't even know her. I knew she was going through a hard time. I wasn't level 2 certified yet, so I couldn't technically monetize off it. I could do
Mm-hmm.
exchanges according to the Reiki rules. And so I had her out. I messaged her on Facebook and I'm like, I would love to give you my first, horse assisted Reiki session. Would you, agree to come out and be a guinea pig for me? And would you mind if I use, something for content? And she was like, oh my God, absolutely. And at first I thought maybe she was faking it, but like, because, some people, when you are of service and they're not really feeling, if you don't connect energetically, they're going to be like, oh, it was great, but then they don't ever contact you again. I've had a couple of clients that have come and like, it's a match or it's not a match, but so she came. Yeah. I know that sounds,
No, no, no,
I'm
no.
either
But again,
or
there's
not.
another. But there's another. There's all these transformations occurring, and one being
Yeah.
like the healing. Whether it's someone that feels like they haven't been doing it long, you know, or someone that's been doing it for a long time. And again, all the information is available to everybody, so it's almost like
Mhm.
everyone's up to speed.
Yeah.
but if it's if it's if it's an exchange, and obviously the person, the client, the patient, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
that's really where it all happens. I mean, that if
Literally,
they're
yeah.
100%, but my point being is, if it's really a high level exchange, there won't be any more sessions. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
that's fixed, and it's really fixed, right? I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah,
that type of
and
stuff happening. It seems like
it
it to
should,
me, anyway.
yeah, and it really does amplify, and, like, I do normal Reiki as well,
Mm,
but I have definitely noticed a complete difference doing it with the horses, and that's
yeah,
why I want to be able to offer it,
that's
and
awesome.
I wanna be able to offer it to anyone, like,
Yeah,
it's not a high level or a high ticket, like, I'm not gonna I'm not one of those people that wants to just get to the top. I just wanna be of service and help
yeah,
women feel, or anybody, it could be a man or woman. I wanna help
yeah,
others feel the way that they should, like
yeah. Yeah, I think it's, again, I think all this is getting carved out. And there's so many different topics that are involved in a question and answer conversation.
Oh, for
But,
sure. Yes. Yes.
it seems to me that, again, just like the animals, right? It seems inevitable that, because oneness is oneness. So
Mhm.
if you came to me and said, could you sit with me, or vice versa, almost like
Mhm.
giving the benefit of the doubt, or trusting the mirror, the reflection, and
Yes.
knowing that
Yes.
it's going to be an equal exchange, almost like nothing's going to have to be said. Now, we're not there yet. That's why when
No.
coming back on, I'm like, you know what, we're just going to do it by contribution. I'm not going to go back there. It's not for me. Okay, it just doesn't
Right,
feel
right.
right. I don't know what the long-term answer is, but and then you have the other thing where, hey, this is my time, it's my energy, and I've got to respect that. And
Mhm.
and you know what, uh, I remember years ago when I first met Morgan. I don't even think we'd been in the flesh. It was like a year and a half before we actually were in
Mhm.
the flesh together. But and she said the number one word, I think something like that. I don't know if this is what she said, but it was an important word in the ascension, is reset. So in
Mhm.
other words, just because we're doing something, even if we've been doing it for a long time or for a day, doesn't mean we can't change. Because after
Yes.
all, that's what we're doing. And what may have
Literally.
been good for let's just say for me or you, what may have been good for us in this moment, what may have
Mhm.
worked in this moment, we may, as a result of this group consciousness, so say in this example, anyone that's watching, anyone that will watch, et cetera,
Mhm.
it's all the same time. As a result of all the code exchange, we wake up tomorrow and this is past tense. Now
Yep.
it's on to something else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You might walk out and do your next horse Reiki with a client, and it just ramps up, and the horse
Yep.
starts talking like that old TV show, Mister.
Mr. Ed.
Right?
Yes. I would not even know what to do because I swear, like, it's on the verge of that sometimes when they look at me, like,
Yeah,
I know, like, they make fun of me. Like, I totally know. They're like, "What is this crazy lady doing? Like, what is she dancing around us? Why does she have her camera on?" Like,
they know.
uh,
It's
they
what's
totally
crazy.
know.
It's crazy here in Mexico, where we've been here for 7 months, and you walk. We lived in a little bitty fishing village, and now we live in a little bigger fishing village.
That's
But
cool.
there's dogs everywhere. I mean,
They're
they're
just on the
just
streets, right?
yeah, but
Yep.
they're all cool. They're all cool. Every now and then you'll
Yeah.
hear a dog get radical or whatever, and cats and chickens, and they're all living together. And I'm telling Morgan a couple of days ago, like, how come the cats don't eat the chickens? You know what I mean?
There's just,
Like
like,
it's
a common understanding. My cats
yeah,
didn't
it's
eat my
it's
chickens.
yeah, it's trippy. They'll be laying right next to each other. I've seen it
Yeah.
before. Yeah, this is cool.
I had a mixture of animals. I had
Mm,
ducks and chickens, and then my cats would literally, like, just go lay next to them. I'm like, "What are you
yeah,
guys like, what are you really doing? Are you, like,
yeah.
making fun of the humans?"
I
It's
think
funny.
I used to say that on the old show all the time. I'd say, I think we're going to find out at the end of the day that we're the low
Yes.
one on
Yes.
the consciousness
Yeah.
totem pole, and everything's upside down. Even the bugs. I can't even want to. I don't even
No,
want
I
to kill
have
like
to
an
let
ant
spiders
or
out
bug
now.
anymore.
I
You know what
can't
I
kill
mean?
bugs.
Mm.
I can't. It's
No, it's a,
but yeah,
yeah, it's. But this is the real thing. This is what's happening, and I really believe, and this is why I'm excited about doing this show today and the ones that are coming. That we're providing. You know, we receive the code, we
mhm,
download. Until now, something's turning, and I really believe that through, even though they're very human and they can seem very
yeah,
mundane, that these new choices that we're making and these new actions that we're taking are actually new universal code when you pull yourself out of the physical and see the
yeah,
energy of it, which is really the story of all of our lives as they're progressing, where we're choosing to put ourselves in the best possible health,
yes,
you know,
yep,
metaphorically and literally possible, because we know that when we're at our best, we're
yes.
serving our best,
We should
right?
put that on a t-shirt.
So it's a it's an honor to have you here. I really
Of
appreciate you
course.
coming on and being open with us about your marriage and your family and everything else that you talked about. I wish you the best always,
I appreciate
and
that.
encourage you to keep on doing what you're doing, and even step out of that box. You know, maybe you start doing a weekly show with other people that work with
Yeah, that would
horses
be
or
fun.
whatever. You know, people just need to, you know, for people to see what's possible through, because we're human, we want to see the proof, right? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? But
literally.
to see people doing stuff, even if it's not exactly what they do, but gives them that, you know, hey, I can do
Yeah,
this. I'm
it's
going to
really
try
crazy if
this.
more people knew
Yeah,
what horses do. All of the people that actually own the horses,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I witness it. Yeah, I
You
mean,
imagine?
I show horses, so I've actually
Mm,
I'll leave it at like I won't say a lot, but like I don't enjoy showing anymore because I see the way that the animals are not from
mm,
us,
yeah.
but from other.
No, I
I treat
get
my
you. Yeah,
animals with the utmost
yeah.
respect, but it's really hard now for me to witness that and not wanna say something. Like, it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut.
Have you? Last thing. Have you ever seen this video? Um, it's a Black Panther.
No.
It's a Black Panther, and his name's something like, not Satan, but I mean, it's like a
Mhm.
tough name, right? He's a Black Panther. He's living in, you know, and they got him in a cage, and there's this animal whisperer. I'm sure it'd be
Yeah,
easy to find, you know.
I'm definitely gonna Google it.
And she comes and talks and talk.
Oh,
Oh, it's fascinating. He talks to the panther, and the panther says,
there you are.
"You know, I'm pissed." The panther says, "You know what? I'm pissed off because of the way these people treat me.
Mhm.
I'm not a, you know, lesser than them. I'm a king, you know, and so on." And it's fascinating. They do this. It's not a 10 or 12 minute clip, but it reminds me of like what you're talking about. Well,
Yeah.
listen. Uh, Deepest gratitude, love, honor, and respect, blessings of grace for you and your family
Thank
and
you.
everything that
You
you're
as
getting
well.
into. And I'll see you. I'll see you. You know, out there,
Yeah, that sounds great.
right?
Alright. Have a good day. Good night.
You take. Okay, you take
Yep.
care.